After having rescued his son Kofun, Baba Voss is trying to locate and free his daughter Haniwa from the clutches of his brother Ido Voss, the general of the Travantian army. Baba tracks her to Travantes, the capital of the Travantian Republic, and manages to infiltrate the city, but Ido is alerted of his presence. Inside the capital, Haniwa is secretly held captive by Ido and his right-hand woman, Ren. With Haniwa soon realizing that Ren can actually see back in control again. Queen Kane, whose name is Sibath, together with Maghra and the leftovers of the Payan army march to Pennsa, the main city of the Payan kingdom, since Kanzua was destroyed by Sibath herself. The ruler of Pennsa, Lord Harlan, isn't quite happy with the arrival of the queen, but is for the moment forced to submit to her wishes. Having been instructed by Baba to wait for him outside of Travantes, Kofun and Paris are found by Toad and his Witchfinders, and Kofun is taken to Pennsa. After consecrating Pennsa as the new capital of the Payan kingdom, Sibath tells the people that the Travantians are responsible for destroying Kanzua because they had heard that she is carrying a sighted child. Back in Travantes, Baba tries to locate Haniwa, but instead of freeing her, he is captured. Baba is being tortured on instructions from Ido, who vows to make him pay for what he has done, which is revealed to be the killing of their father a long time ago and fleeing the city. While Baba is held captive, Haniwa and Ren start bonding with each other. In Pennsa, Sibath is eager to go on the offensive against the Travantians, while all of her advisors advise caution and even defensive actions. After having heard that the supposed attack of the Travantians on Kanzua is a lie, Harlan proposes an alliance by marrying the queen, but Sibath offers him Maghra instead. Later that day, Boots is killed by Sibath in her chamber after learning that she has lost their unborn child. In Travantes, Ido tries to persuade the Triangle, a ruling body consisting of 3 members who lead the Travantian Republic, to the importance of sighted children, but the Triangle dismisses his ideas. Ido has Baba then locked up in a cell, where Tamakti June is also being held, revealing that he had survived Boots' attack. Tamakti tells Baba that Maghra is still alive, while Ren learns that Ido plans to use Haniwa as a breeding factory for his army of sighted soldiers. Having grown to care about her, Ren frees Baba and Tamakti, and together they locate and free Haniwa and escape Travantes, except for Ren, who decides to stay. With the escape of Baba, Tamakti and Haniwa, Ido is scolded by the Triangle for his failure. Wanting to meet up with Paris and Kofun, Baba's group is unable to locate them, but Haniwa sees a message left behind by Kofun that they are headed to Pennsa. They continue their journey, but are then attacked by slavers. Paris and her band of women warriors then show up and save them. With the slavers dealt with, Paris tells them the story of the Compass, a secret female-run organization which has protected sighted children for years, and that she was once a member but was casted out because she let a certain boy, Jerlamarel, become too powerful and slip through their fingers. Meanwhile in Pennsa, Sibath convinces Maghra to marry Harlan for political reasons, and Maghra agrees on the condition that he will try to find her family. While en route to Pennsa, Toad's Witchfinders want to kill Kofun for being a witch, Aka-sighted, but Toad kills one of them, while the other escapes, now being blind after his battle with Baba Voss. Jerlamarel is being visited by Ido, who soon decapitates Jerlamarel after realizing that he is blind and thus no longer useful. Continuing their journey to Pennsa, Baba's group is forced to stop since Baba Voss is physically unable to continue due to the wounds he suffered from his imprisonment under Ido. Thanks to Paris's connections, they are given shelter in a nearby village, with their friend Bolian welcoming them. Tamakti is forced to camp outside of the village since in his past as Witchfinder general, he had slaughtered many members of that village. He reveals to Paris his regret for a lot of the things he had done on orders from Sibath, with her abandoning him and being responsible for the death of his wife and his children during the flooding of Kanzua. In Travantes, the Triangle does not allow Ido to attack the Payans since they already have a war with the Ganites in the west. Instead, Military, one of the members of the Triangle, plans to send a delegation to the Payans and come to an agreement diplomatically. Kofun and Toad then arrive in Pennsa just before Maghra's wedding. After being reunited with his mother, Kofun learns of his mother's wedding to Harlan and is not pleased with it. Later that day, Serie seduces Kofun into an intimate relationship, while Maghra has her new husband's brother, Kane, sent on a mission to locate her lost family. With the chances of a war against the Travantians increasing every day, Maghra implores Serie to allow for a peaceful solution, one that requires no dead bodies in the end. Serie eventually allows for a peace summit, but demands that the Travantians have to formally apologize and compensate for the incurred damage, fully realizing that the chances of that are zero. Baba Voss and the rest of his company then finally arrive in Pennsa. After meeting with his wife, Baba learns, much to his frustration and anger, that she now is his ex-wife, since she is married to Harlan. Later that day, Serie organizes a dinner party for the family in Paris. But instead of trying to spark a sense of unity, she sows distrust by trying to play out Baba, Harlan and Maghra against each other. That night, Baba and Maghra are forced to set their feelings aside for the moment and convene with Tamakti. With the three of them coming to the conclusion that peace with the Travantians can only be achieved if Serie is dethroned or dead. While her sister is planning to strip her of her power, Serie is hatching her own plot to retain that same power by tricking Kofun into a scheme in which the end result will be a divine incited child of her own. That night, Harlan receives a package from a messenger and shockingly learns that it is the head of his brother Kane. With their mission clear, Baba Voss, Maghra and Harlan leave Pennsa for the diplomatic meeting with the Travantian delegation, which includes Ren, who has secretly been instructed by Ito to prevent a peace and pave the way for war. Meanwhile in Pennsa, Serie furthers her plans with Kofun and reaches a climax quite literally after she and her cousin have sex. At the summit, both parties seem seriously interested in peace, until Maghra brings up Serie's demand of a formal apology, and one of the Travantians reveals that they had killed Kane, Harlan's brother. Hearing this, Harlan goes into a frenzy and even attacks the Travantian, causing the meeting to be stopped. Later that night, Harlan sets up a secret meeting with Maghra and Ambassador Scopus, the leader of the Travantian delegation. Maghra reveals to him that she knows that they are not responsible for the destruction of Kanzua and promises that if he agrees to apologize, she will depose Serie and reveal the truth to everyone. Scopus agrees with the plan, and the next day the peace summit is resumed and everything is discussed to usher in an era of peace. However, that night, the peace summit camp is sneakily attacked and the Travantian delegation is killed. The assassins are dealt with, but the damage is already done and irreparable. Baba Voss and Maghra soon realize that Serie is responsible and that the summit was just a tactic to commit an act of war, of which there is no going back. When everyone has returned to Pennsa from the peace summit, Tamakti exposes Serie for the destruction of Kanzua. With Maghra joining the general and Harlan backing them, Serie is deposed and headed to the executioner's block. But Paris stops the planned execution and reveals that Serie is pregnant. From Kofun, of course. Knowing that the Travantian army is on the move with 250 soldiers, Maghra and her council make preparations for the smaller Payan army of 160 soldiers to soon leave for Green Hill Gap, a defensible fortress in which they can bottleneck the Travantian army. With the preparations done, Queen Maghra gives her army an emotional speech, while Baba Voss sends Paris on a secret mission, with Toad joining her. Knowing that Pennsa is left vulnerable, Ito has sent assassins to kill Queen Maghra. However, before they can ambush her, she hears them coming, and together with Harlan, they manage to narrowly beat them and escape with their lives, with Harlan severely wounded. With the Payan army having reached Green Hill Gap, they soon come to realize that the Travantian army has arrived as well, with even more soldiers than they had been told. With both armies standing opposite from each other, Haniwa tries a last attempt at peace with Ren, but her lover tells her it is too late and the Travantian arrows are let loose. Haniwa makes it back in time into the fortress, and the Travantians soon follow her and try to knock down the gates with a battering ram. With the Payans believing that death is coming, Lion, Paris, and Toad arrive with 100 hidden tribe soldiers. With the reinforcements now there, Baba Voss gives a war speech to his men and decides to open the fort gates and let the enemy in. The Travantians cautiously walk inside the fortress but are brutally picked off. Ito decides that he has heard enough and orders his army to storm the fort. A full-scale battle ensues and soldiers from both armies die horrendous deaths including Toad. More Travantians than Ito would have liked die in the battle thanks to the Payan traps and tactics. With the final and biggest ploy being leading most of the Travantian army onto an ice field and then breaking the ice from underneath them. Ito then challenges Baba to a one-on-one fight and Baba manages to defeat him, but is unwilling to kill him. Baba then tells Ito that their father instructed him to kill Ito, but that he didn't do it then and won't do it now. But when Ito attacks him, he is forced to kill his brother, who dies, but in his final moments realizes that their father was the prick, not Baba. With the Travantian army defeated and captured, Haniwa lets Ren go, and the army returns to Pennsa. Maghra promotes Tamakti to general of the army and declares that the Witchfinder force is no more since the sighted are no longer considered witches. After his reunion with Maghra, Baba Voss decides that Pennsa is not his home and sneaks away the following morning. While Oloman, Jerlamarel's son, introduces explosives to Ito's scientist. Some time later, Paris checks in on Sibath, who suddenly slices Paris's throat while telling her that she will kill her child before she lets it be taken.